Hey, it's Paris, back with another video, and this time one of my favorite subjects, Cyberpunk 2077, and more specifically, the recently premiered Night City Wire Episode 2. So, I got a chance to watch it a few times, figured I'd take a few notes, and then just break down what I liked about it, what my impressions of it were. So, Holly Bennett over at CD Projekt Red, she hosted again for Night City Wire, and they kind of touched on three specific topics. They talked about the life paths that you can choose in Cyberpunk 2077. They talked about the music of Cyberpunk 2077 from the point of view of the band Refuse, where we had a behind the scenes look at them and their process becoming the in-game band Samurai, led by Johnny Silverhand. So that was a real cool look as well. And then kind of the main course of this episode was a look at the weapons that we can expect in Cyberpunk 2077. Holly had Philip Weber, who is the quest design coordinator over at CDPR for Cyberpunk 2077. He talked about the three different life paths that you can do. First one being the street kid, second one being the nomad, and third being the corpo. So when I had my hands on preview, I actually got to play as a corpo, and kind of the main things about it is there's three different starts to the game when you do it. Like the street kid, this is someone who has pretty much lived their entire life in Night City, and they're coming at it from the point of view of someone who knows the underbelly, who knows the slang and just the gangs of Night City, right? They're gonna know that criminal element of Night City. Then you have the nomads, who they're that roaming clan on the outskirts who live in the Badlands, and then but they value family, they value those core values. So you're going to start off in the Badlands, and then you're going to enter Night City from that point of view. And then, like I played as the corpo, you start off in Arasaka Tower. You know the high-end lifestyle of Night City. You know the corporate lifestyle, the executive lifestyle of Night City. You know in Arasaka, Militech, things like that. So you're approaching it from that point of view. So this is kind of your starting point. This is how you enter the world. But like Philip explained, it doesn't just end there, because yes, this is an RPG and you will be free to make choices and go your own path, but you're going to get specific dialogue choices along the way depending on that life path choice that you made. So again, I can take it from the corporal point of view because I played it and I saw it. So when I encounter Meredith, who was the corporal agent from Militech, I know the tricks of the trade with her. Like, I knew she was going to put a virus on that chip she wanted me to give to the Maelstrom gang. There were some other options where I would, like when I was talking to Dexter Deshawn as an example, I would have a corporal option. So you're going to see that same thing from a nomad point of view, from a street kid point of view. So like even Philip brought up the point that when you encounter the Maelstrom gang, that the street kid may not necessarily get the same dialogue option that you're going to get as a corpo, because the street kid didn't have that same type of experience with the Maelstrom gang or dealing with the Militech agent as you did, right? So that kind of makes sense to me. So that's really cool for the life path choices. I think it's going to be very interesting to see how that branches out once you get past the opening of the game, and just how the choices will affect your gameplay. And it's absolutely going to promote you to want to do multiple playthroughs through the game, because you're simply going to have other dialogue choices, other choices that are going to affect how you interact in Night City, literally depending on that life path that you do. So that was kind of the beginning of episode 2, and then like I said, they had a trailer that played along with that as well, that explained the three different life paths, and then it moved into the actual music part with Refuse. And like I said, we had a behind the scenes look with them, and then that ended where we actually, one of the new songs that they premiered, you can now listen to that on Spotify, or you can grab it off of the Cyberpunk YouTube channel as well. But again, the main course, and I'm going to butcher this name, so I apologize, but the senior gameplay designer, Pavel Kapala, please, I hope I'm saying that correct. If I am saying that wrong, I do apologize, but he's the senior gameplay designer for Cyberpunk 2077, and he's specialized in the weapons. And we kind of got a really cool trailer that highlighted some of the weapons that we're going to be able to use in Night City. And I'm just going to run through this really quick. So there were 5 different things that they ran through. You had your power weapons, you had your tech weapons, you had the smart weapons, you had your melee weapons, and then you had cyberware. So When they showed off the power weapons, we got to see Carnage, which is a 4-gauge shotgun. The tech weapons, we got to see the Tsunami Nekomata sniper rifle. And kind of circling back, we also got to see the vendors that create these weapons. So with the Tsunami Nekomata sniper rifle, Tsunami Defense Systems makes that sniper rifle and is a semi-auto that pierces concrete like cardboard. And then Pavel, during the interview he did with VG247, talked about this a little more, that this sniper rifle can actually, you know, shoot people through walls, shoot through cover, things like that. So that's really cool. And I do believe he said that was one of his favorite weapons as well. But going back to the Carnage shotgun, the vendor manufacturer for that is Budget Arms. Then we go to the smart weapons. So the one they talked about was the TKI-20. This is a burst fire micro-guided missile SMG. I mean, seeing it in the trailer, it looks like it absolutely kicks ass. So I can't wait to be able to use that. And Arasaka is the vendor for that one. Then they started talking about some of the melee weapons, and then there's the thermal katana, which is also made by Arasaka. That is a nano-filament heated blade, the purest of essence katana with no mods. It just rips steel. So if you saw that, it was like glowing red. Looks like it's just gonna slice through people like butter. So really excited to be able to try that out when the final game comes out. And then we talked about some of the cyberware that you'll be able to use as well. So they talked about the Mantis blades, which we've seen in previous demos. Again, Arasaka makes that. But the one cool thing about that one is it's going to have swappable blades. So this is where we kind of start getting into the mod system, which I'll talk about a little bit more in a second, that, you know, you're going to be able to upgrade these Mantis blades and do different and potentially unique things with them. So excited to see that. But they're designed with lethality and concealment in mind. And then they showed off the Gorilla Arms, which we got to see in 2019 in Pacifica, dealing with the animals. And again, this was a part of a solo build. And this was like, you're using this for strength and endurance. Like, you're literally able to rip open the door with the Gorilla Arms. And then they also showed off the projectile launch system, which again is made by Arasaka. Arasaka obviously becoming a big theme as a vendor here, but they showed that off, and it is a literal missile launcher system that is coming out of the palm of your hand. So that was like a quick look at some of the power weapons. We also got to see, and I believe this was one of the smart weapons, where it was like a double 8-barrel shotgun we got to see. I mean, there was an auto rifle. It looked like there was a bunch of cool weapons that we got to see during the montage of that trailer, which just gets me excited because there's going to be so many different weapons and styles that you're going to be able to use while you're in the game. So going beyond that, Pavel, then during kind of the interview he had on VG247, he talked about some of the destructible environments that you're going to have, and they're going to have different hit reactions, everything from like breaking glass and breaking beer bottles to literally destroying cover in the game. So that's going to be awesome. Then he talked more about the weapons having RPG elements. It's like that balance of the RPG elements of the weapons along with the actual first-person shooter aspect of it. So the way that he described it is, and this is something I had experience with as well during the preview, is the more you use a weapon type, the more you're going to be proficient at it. But also a way that you're going to be able to kind of quote unquote level up your weapons is through the mod system, through the mods that you're going to be able to get as you progress through the game. So even if, let's say, I find this pistol that just kicks ass that I love at level 10, I'm not going to have to leave it behind because it's a level 10 pistol. I'm going to be able to upgrade it through mods and proficiency. So even when I'm level 25, I'm still going to be able to use that weapon. And it obviously goes across the board. But the one thing that he did mention in this is it's really going to depend on your playstyle, how much you're going to use these weapons and how valuable they're going to be for you as you progress through the game. So depending on my style and just the way I'm allocating my skills and perks, certain weapons are going to be more valuable than others to me. Another thing that he talked about is the fact that they're not tying like legendary weapons to like specific quests, in the sense that I just go do quest X and at the end I'm guaranteed to get this weapon. Instead, they're, again, the RPG element of it, they're making this more about your interaction with characters and the relationships that you build, the ones that go good and the ones that go bad, depending on your choice. So let's just take Judy as an example. So let's say I do go on a quest with Judy, and because of the relationship I built with Judy, maybe I am now in favor with her, and because of that, I now have access to this particular weapon. Or let's say I piss off Judy because of one of my choices, and now I don't have access to that. I love that RPG element of it, because it now, again, makes it more about the relationships you build in Night City, and the people that you ally with, and the people that obviously you make become your enemies, and obviously the gangs, just everything that's going to be involved with that. So that's a real cool perk in that. Now, one thing that potentially could be a bad thing, but the way he described it during the interview is, I'm confident in this, that they're going to get it fixed, is the melee. So during my hands-on preview, wasn't really that big of a fan of the melee. I didn't think it was the greatest, but he did talk about in the interview that they're not 100% happy with it. They've already made some great improvements to it, but they will continue to tweak it right up until launch to obviously get it in a good, playable, fun state, because that's what it's all about. And he mentioned just about, you know, some of the hit detection and things like that. It just didn't feel good, just didn't, you know, obviously play good when you're actually, you know, going through the game. So they're still tweaking that. And he didn't mention this in here, but I know the driving is also another thing that's been talked about since the hands-on previews that they need to work on, which I do know they're working on as well. So I'm excited for it, man. I'm really excited for this game. Episode 2 was fantastic. Now, another thing that they talked about, before I forget, is they mentioned kind of some of the trade-offs with CYBERWARE. So the example that he used was the Mantis blades and the gorilla arm. So could I have both equipped at the same time? And the answer to that is no. And it makes sense, because you're literally doing a full redesign of your arms when you equip that type of CYBERWARE. So there's trade-offs. So if I want to do a solo build where I'm super strong and I have great endurance, I'm going to want to go with the gorilla arms. Or if I want to do, I don't know, more of a net runner build, but I want to do close combat and slice and dice people with the Mantis blades, then I'm going to have to make that choice. So there's going to be trade-offs and sacrifices depending on the type of CYBERWARE and things that you augment your body with. So obviously that's going to apply to like your vision, your legs, other things, where you're going to have to make a choice at some point on the type of CYBERWARE that you want to equip. But again, with this being an RPG, you will be able to change things around. He also mentioned some of the higher end CYBERWARE, you know, like the military grade stuff. You know, it's not going to be easy to get. These are things that you're going to have to search through the game, go to black markets to find things like that. So again, I keep saying I'm excited, but guys, you already know my excitement for Cyberpunk, and the fact that I have played and actually seen some of these things in the game that they talked about in episode 2 just gets me more excited. Because here's the final thing I'll say, and this is what really piqued my interest. Go watch during the Refused segment where they're talking about Samurai and Johnny Silverhand, and you see Johnny Silverhand in there. This is like in-game footage of Johnny Silverhand. The upgrade is real. Looks fantastic. They've come so far in the past 2 years graphically with this game. Just again, looking at the Johnny Silverhand model specifically, but I'm telling you guys already from being able to actually see it myself, you'll see when we get more of this game. You've seen some of the amazing screenshots, obviously at the very high end of the PC fidelity with ray tracing on it, things like that. The game just looks phenomenal. And going through this episode 2 and just seeing some of the different weapon choices we're going to have, kind of understanding how the mod system is going to work, again going into that VG247 interview with Pavel, and just seeing how they're really balancing the first person perspective aspect of Cyberpunk along with the RPG elements. I say it a million times, but it's true. We have to remember this is an RPG first, and you have to play it as such. So again, with the weapon system, like he was saying, the more you use something, the more proficient you're going to get with it. It's going to be able to level up with you through proficiency and through using the mod system. You see all these kick-ass weapons that we're going to be able to use. There's some crazy stuff in there, guys, and I keep saying excited, but I'm going to say it a million more times. I'm excited to experience this. I'm excited to experience this game and just everything that's going to come with it. So Final thoughts on episode 2. Again, like I said, I think Holly did a fantastic job as host. They asked some questions that have definitely been going around the community over the past few weeks. I did notice there was not any more work in progress on any of the trailer footage that we saw, so that's a good sign. It looks like we are going to get that November 19th date. I don't think we're going to get a delay again, knock on wood. But everything's looking good. It's looking real good. They said episode 3 of Night City Wire will be coming, in the coming weeks. If I had to guess, probably September, maybe October, something like that. But overall, looking good. The weapon system's looking good. Trust me when I tell you, when you start seeing these dialogue choices, depending on your life path in the game, that's going to be interesting, because you are going to see some conflicts and have some tough choices that you're going to want to make when you're interacting with these characters in Night City. So I think that's it. I think I covered everything I wanted to get in here. Like I said, there were a ton of other weapons that they showed in here. I mean, I'm just looking really quick, and I'm not going to butcher all these names. Like, I even noticed on the melee weapons tree, they showed like the electric alpha baton, the spike bat, the sledgehammer, which we saw back in 2019 in Pacifica. CYBERWARE, the monowire, which we've seen a few times. There's something like, it looks like there's a power weapon called the Tsunami Nu, the SOR-22, goes on and on. But again, go watch the trailer a million times, freeze it, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's going to be some fun and interesting weapons that we're going to be able to use in Night City. So I'm here for it, and I'm excited. So again, I think that's it. That was Night City Wire episode 2. I'm excited for more Cyberpunk information. I'll say really quick before we get out of here, it looks like NVIDIA is getting ready to announce the Ampere cards, and we know that CD Projekt Red and NVIDIA have been partnered up with this. Obviously, Cyberpunk is going to have ray tracing in it. It's going to take advantage of DLSS 2.0, so I expect this game to be an actual, just a visual showcase when we get it coming on November 19th. So I think that's it. Gonna go ahead and wrap it up now. Again, thank you guys for watching this video. Really appreciate you checking it out. Leave a like, sub, let me know what you think, and till the next time, I'll see you soon.